Hi, my name is Andrew Warburton. I'm the property advisor. I want to thank you for looking at this video. This video is about foreclosures 2020 in the United States. I'm going to talk about the term shadow inventory. You used to hear it a lot in the early 2000s. Is it a myth or is it a fact? If you have anything to do with housing today, if you own a home, if you're thinking of buying a home, if you're thinking of investing in a property, this is a must-see video. And I want to encourage you to watch it all the way through to the end. The very third section is really important. It's about something called frozen inventory that a lot of people don't know anything about. So stay with me through this video, and I thank you for watching. Would you take a second, particularly if you're new to YouTube, and click right below the video, subscribe. It's like liking somebody on Facebook. And when you click subscribe, you're going to be notified of the updates I give 3 to 5 times a week. You get updates on the real estate market in America based on fact, not on myth. So just take a second down there and see that subscribe at the bottom right hand corner of the video. Just click subscribe, and then you and I can communicate with each other. If you like the video, say so. If you don't, say so. And if you've got questions, place comments down below, and I or one of my team will reach out to you. So let's get on with it. Let's get to the meat of the video. Foreclosures 2020, shadow inventory. Is it a myth or fact? You haven't heard that term shadow inventory really since the early 2000s. And it's coming back. I'm hearing it in the talk out there in the marketplace. So that's why I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about 3 types of DHI. DHI is distressed housing inventory. You need to understand these 3 types so that you can distinguish between fact and propaganda. The first type of distressed housing inventory is real estate that is in foreclosure. And there's a distinction here between foreclosed upon and in foreclosure. So there's different types of foreclosure throughout the United States. The most common kinds are the judicial and non-judicial foreclosure. In California, where I live and where I work, there is non-judicial foreclosure. Understand that properties that are in foreclosure, there is an opportunity to resolve that default for quite a long period of time. There's a statutory limit, but very often the foreclosures go longer than what the statute says for many reasons. And I want to encourage you to watch my next video, which describes the foreclosure process and gives you the up-to-date facts in 2020 of what the actual numbers and statistics are. So the first type of distressed housing inventory is property that is in foreclosure but is not foreclosed upon yet. Zillow calls these pre-foreclosure properties. We very often have clients say, can I see X home or Y home? It was on Zillow. And when you go to Zillow, it's not on the MLS, it's not for sale, but it says pre-foreclosure. That means it's in the foreclosure process, but the sellers have absolutely no intention of selling the property whatsoever. They're hoping to resolve, and even if they don't hope to resolve, they want to stay in that home for free as long as possible. That's property that's in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. I want to let you know that in April 2020, yes, in the midst of this pandemic, the foreclosure rate in the United States was lower than it has been in 20 years. And that's why you're not seeing the housing prices plummet. That's why you're not seeing housing going off the cliff, because people don't want to lose their homes. Of course, if the government or a pandemic freezes their jobs and freezes their income, they want to have forbearance. You may want to have forbearance, but that's different to saying, yeah, I want to put my wife and kids on the street. I want to put my friends on the street. That's a completely different position. Distressed housing inventory that is in foreclosure. Now, I just want to address the fear. The fear, and you often hear this in those real estate seminars where you go on the weekend, you go to a free one first, and they charge you $2,000 to share with you their secrets. Well, you can learn these secrets for free on this YouTube channel. And in their secrets, they want you to invest money in the funds, the pot they put together, and they promise you, kind of on a sideways way, that they have shadow inventory. Is that a myth or is it a fact? And sometimes propagandists will tell you, oh, there's so much shadow inventory, and the fear is that shadow inventory is going to take over and crash the market. So basically, if you look at a graph of dollars over time, if you've got the real estate market, for example, I want to show this to you very quickly. If the real estate market is going up like this, And underneath, there is a fear of shadow inventory, which is homes that are being foreclosed on or homes that nobody's telling you about. And that's going like this. The fear is that that shadow inventory will overtake and therefore cause the real estate market to go down. So I want to look at this. Is shadow inventory real? We're going to deal with it in this video. Stay with me. So first of all, distressed housing inventory is property that is in the process of foreclosure. Second, distressed housing inventory includes bank-owned homes. Now, there are two types of bank-owned homes. One type of bank-owned home is where it's out in the open. It's a matter of title. Now, there are many, particularly those who charge you $3,000, $5,000 for a seminar, who say, oh, the banks have inventory they don't tell you about. That is a myth. And here's why. When somebody owns a property, they take title to the property. When you close escrow, you take title to the property. If a bank owns a property, they take title to the property. That title has to be recorded. It's recorded at the county recorder, and the county recorder information is public information. So that means if a bank has shadow inventory, the only way it's their inventory is if they have title to it. So at any time you can go to a title rep and say, please would you tell me how much inventory Bank of America owns in Southern California, or Chase, or Wells Fargo? And guess what? I did that today. I went to the title company, I went, please would you tell me how much inventory Bank of America has? Here you go for Orange County, Los Angeles County, San Diego County, the entire Inland Empire. Here's how many properties Bank of America owns in Southern California. 359. That's it. Do you know how many properties JP Morgan Chase owns? 22. In Southern California. Do you know how many properties Wells Fargo has recorded on title? 292. So if somebody says to you, oh, the banks have shadow inventory, they have to hold title. If they have to hold title, it has to be recorded. If it's recorded, you have access to it and you can get a list. So at any time you can judge whether or not that's true. So if you pay $5,000 because somebody's telling you they've got access to a bank that sells lots and lots and lots of homes, then I want to tell you, you might want to check first what bank that is. Because if it's the major banks, that's how much property they own in Southern California, where they've taken title and they've taken the deed. So that's distressed housing inventory, bank owned. Check the title, check the numbers. Two types. Here comes the third type of distressed housing inventory. This is what we call frozen housing. Very, very interesting. And I will say, if there's any looming danger, it's in the category of frozen housing. Let me explain what frozen housing is. So frozen housing is when somebody goes into default, and it could be in the early stages of default, the middle stages of default, or the late stages of default. This is everything that's happening in foreclosure before it becomes bank owned. Now, frozen inventory is when the homeowner has not made a payment, but they have no intention of moving out of the property. You understand the difference? So they've not made a payment, and they have no intention of moving. Now, included in that is many people who went into forbearance. They went into forbearance because they didn't have money to make the payment, but they have no intention of moving out of that property. Also, the banks are not allowed to file foreclosure filings against them because of state and federal law. Let's say those state and federal laws change. The issue is, what are people going to do? Are they going to decide, I want to throw my family out on the street? Very probably not, when they start to re-earn again. But frozen inventory is inventory where there's been no payment and people have no intention of moving. Now, what's very important is to look at the status of foreclosures, which is again a statistical issue. This is not propaganda. This is not one of those videos that I want you to get 1 million views just telling you garbage. This is how it works in America. There is a status change where you have the overall delinquencies, then the early stage, the late stage, and the very serious stage. These are categories that economists watch. If you see an escalation from early stage in foreclosure to middle stage to late stage to serious, if you see an escalation in those status changes, that's when we see a problem. That simply does not exist in America today. It does not exist. You can go to CoreLogic, you can go to RealtyTrack, you can go to multiple sources. The Case-Shiller Index, you do not see that escalation in delinquencies. In fact, they're at record lows. And you might say then, Andrew, why is it that we aren't seeing those foreclosures? And the reasons are really very simple. The jobs prior to the pandemic, the amount that people earn on their jobs is at record highs. Secondly, the amount of equity people have in their homes. People don't want to just walk away from equity. How long does it take you to save $20,000? How long does it take you to save $100,000? Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of people have equity like that? Even millions of people have equity like that in their homes. And because equity is high, people don't want to walk away. The reason people walked away in 2006 was because their payment was changing and they had no equity, and so they wanted to walk away because they were so leveraged. Now you have jobs that pay well. You have people that are secure in their homes who have equity. They don't want to lose the equity. And third, there's this huge issue right down here, the word resolution. The whole mood towards homeownership in America has changed. The government wants people in default to resolve. That's what the 2013 acts were all about. It gives the American public the opportunity to resolve, to have loss mitigation, to be able to enter into negotiation with the banks. So the mood is for resolution, and that's why right there, the shadow inventory is a myth, because people may at some point enter into foreclosure, but the mood of the banks and the government is to make sure that home doesn't finish foreclosure, but gets resolved, the payment gets recast, the loan gets modified. If this changes, I will tell you right here on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe. I want to ask you again, subscribe down below. When the facts change, I will tell you the facts have changed. It's up to you if you listen to propaganda or not. It's up to you if you're half full or half empty, or if you just want to know the facts. So if you're buying or if you're selling, I want to let you know right now, foreclosures are at a record low. Equity is at a record high. Many millions of Americans want to hold on to their homes. So make your decision within the context of facts. Thank you for watching The Property Advisor. I'm Andrew Warburton. I look forward to seeing you on the next video, which gives you a bunch of statistics as to what's happening with foreclosures in America today. Thanks for watching.